What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. This is our reaction show. We're going to break down everything that's happened this week between both the Riveters and the Riverhounds. I am Mike Sparks. Joining me is Josh Brokaw and Steve Mattiace. Guys, not only are we going to be talking about 2 wins, we're going to be talking about clinching a division, which is huge. I think right off the bat, let's just do the victory. Oh, that was really weak this time for me. Sorry, guys. There you go, Steve. That works. We're going to talk about all of that stuff, but first,
that was absurd and fun.
Blah. Steve, what's going on, man?
Not much. Got out today. Went for a hike at Riverview Park to check out the new Davis Ave Bridge connector. So it's a pedestrian bike friendly bridge from Davis Ave to Riverview Park. And it feels like summer because admissions is over and letters of reference are submitted. And so I have just been like taking the past few days to just I don't have big deadlines or big things to do for a little while. And that feels great.
When you said it feels like summer, I thought you were going to go in a different direction. Like we're all melting because of the heat. And
I mean, I did that while still working on the things that were keeping me from feeling like it was summer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Josh, what's going on, man?
Not much. I didn't get to watch the game live last night because I was busy being a nerd. I went to Morgantown for a Star Wars Unlimited Planetary Qualifier, which is basically a tournament for a card game. That's kind of like Magic the Gathering, but Star Wars theme. Nice. So went there with a buddy of mine. It's like 50 people playing in a tournament. Did like 6 rounds, best of 3, and did not do good at all. But I did win some cool stuff at the raffles, and I opened up a pack and got like a super expensive card that I immediately traded in for store credit and bought more cards with. So.
That's awesome.
Fun times.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. You guys put on a great show last week. Apologies for not being able to make it. We were hosting a graduation party for my son, melting in the heat at the grill, but it was totally fun and worth it. Glad to be back. Guys, before we talk about the Hounds, as we are very apt to do, I think we do need to talk about the Riveters first. And it totally wouldn't be fair for us to kind of, have Liz and Kaz talk about them all season long, and then they clinch the division, and we're like, we got this one. Don't worry, like we're good. So we're going to kick it over to Liz and Kaz, who are going to talk about the Riveters win, and then we're going to circle back after that.
Kaz, we're supplementing the main show, although pretty soon we're going to be the main characters, right? Like any week now?
I think so.
I think so too. The Riveters game mattered a lot more. So obviously the rest of the hosts just don't have anything to say, and they need us to make the main Mongol show worth your time. So we're going to talk about the Riveters. Mm-hmm. How have you been? It's Sunday. Mm-hmm. I don't know. My weekend's been real long so far. How about you?
Oh yeah, it's also been very long for me.
The heat has not let up, even though we're not under the dome anymore. Suspicious, considering the humidity.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
I mean, I like
I know
summer.
You like the heat, but the humidity at least needs to calm down.
Yeah, I think a lot of other people are suffering, and I do feel for you. I do. But in winter, you can mock me, mm-hmm. and then we'll be on even keel. Honestly, Cass, I mean, I want to get right into talking about the game. I think Laura Ellen does the best summary I've heard, so let's start with her.
And now, hey sir, 1-minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
Wow. Okay, so like the last play of the game makes me feel completely different than how I felt the rest of the game. So we're just going to go with what I'm feeling in this moment, which is, wow. Oh, it feels so good to get 2 goals, to get that win, get those 3 points to finish out the season. That second half, way better. 200 times better than the first half. The first half, they were so flat. They weren't going anywhere. And I don't know if there wasn't enough rotation throughout the rest of the season, and anyway, but then the second half they brought it, and The first goal, kind of ugly. That's fine. A goal's a goal. But then, that second goal, was somebody offside? We'll never know, because there's not VAR in this league. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, Riveters! Well done. It was so exciting to see all the fans. I wish I could have been there. I'm so proud of you. On to the playoffs!
This has been Hey Sir, 1 minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
So there we are. I mean,
Yes.
do you agree? Were they 200 times better in the second half?
I mean, something like that, because yeah, that first half to second half, something was said at halftime that just turned things around. It seemed like.
Do you think they were the Riveters specifically were confused because the rain let up, and so they were playing with basically clear skies? Was that the problem during the first half?
Honestly, given the way that the rest of the season has gone, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the issue.
People were in the parking lot complaining during tailgate, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is just home field advantage now.
Yeah.
If it's raining, the Riveters know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you think back, the home opener was the only other game with good weather, and it was a 0-0 draw. So, I mean...
So let it rain, is what we're saying. It's fine. It's only fine if it's above 75 degrees in my book. Less than that, your girl is gonna complain. I do not love it. Yeah, I agree that the first half, like the first, I would say 15 minutes, I was distraught. That didn't look like the Riveters that we've seen, over the past 4 games at all. What are your thoughts on that first half? Especially the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was they just felt flat. Like they just couldn't do their normal game. I don't know. I mean, Anna Marie Williams and Tessa both didn't start this game. Anna Marie wasn't even on the bench. So I don't know if those two normally being like kind of the midfield engines and them not being there, meant that the two that were in midfield had to get used to each other and had to get used to playing that kind of transition, or if it was just they weren't in the right headspace. I don't know, but it was not great in the first, like you said, at least 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I was excited to see Siam finally got the start. However, I think everybody noticed her kit didn't have her name on it.
Oh
and then later I went to talk to her on the field, and she had to tape her shorts to get her number properly because they didn't even have... Listen, I know whose fault it was, and I'm going to give them sass, even though they actually got stuck on a plane and were doing other important things, and it's not actually their fault. I refuse to acknowledge that.
Yep.
Siam deserves her name on her kit.
Yes.
Be prepared. I don't know. It was so weird. I approached her immediately after the game, and I was like, so did you just like go so hard you bled all over everything else? Like, why does your kit not have your name on it?
Yeah. I mean, and the numbers were weird too. Like they were two different formats of the number, and like it was a mess. She was the only one though, which was what was so weird.
I know. What a way to get I think that's her first start of the season, right?
Is, yeah.
Yeah, what a way to get your first start of the season.
Yeah.
Although I'd like she's tough. Like watching her play, it was so nice to see her getting scrappy inside of the box. To our detriment.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. It did result in an early PK, and she felt that.
Yeah.
I watched her feel that on the big screen, and thank goodness there's time to set up for a PK because she needed to go through it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, even watching the replay, they showed her like they went back and showed her like slam the ground and just was, I mean, so upset about it. Pulled her shirt up over her face and everything for a second there. Like it was definitely, I mean, she looked like she was crushed. But I mean, despite giving up that goal, it turned around.
Yeah, I mean, she got right back into it. I don't think that she let it affect her once play started. Like she pushed out those emotions and was like, all right, set up, defend, slash. I mean, she's just wherever the ball is, she's trying to get it away from someone. She pulls balls away from players on a constant basis and like shoots it out so that we have opportunities. And I really like watching that because sometimes, I mean, not everyone has that kind of control over the ball and can get into a scrap and come out and like make it look smooth. And the way that she does it is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. She's just, I mean, most of this team is the same way, but she's just fun to watch.
Super fun. And Piper, oh my gosh, I think I said her name 17 times. She was ready to stand. She was ready to sort of put her hands on her hips and be like, yeah, no, you're not getting past me. Her defending was, I loved. I mean, when they're down on our side of the field, it is so interesting to watch their personalities.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I completely agree. They're just all very fun to watch. They all have personality, and you can really kind of see their characters coming out a lot of times.
I completely agree. So we get to halftime. How do you feel at halftime when we're down 1-0?
Not great. That's kind of when we started doing the math and looking at the table and that kind of thing and going like, okay, wait. So because Buffalo had to concede that game, which that's a whole other conversation, but
it is a whole other conversation.
Because Buffalo had to forfeit that game against Cleveland, that meant that Cleveland was now tied on points with us, and they held the tiebreaker with us because they beat us and drew against us. So a loss prior to that Cleveland game would have still been theoretically okay for our chances for the playoffs. Not great, but we still would have had a shot. But a loss as of then, because of that other game being forfeited, that was it. There was no, like, we had to get at least a goal and get a point, and a point clinched it one way or the other. But it was just like to go from no chance of being in the playoffs to like, okay, we've clinched it in a matter of a few minutes was just a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't know that they were going to get that goal.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they had control of the game. I was very worried. And we start off, a good chunk of the second half and the play is better. But I don't think that that Steel City's play dropped off. They met us where we were at the start of that second half. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they love them or hate them, Steel City was up for it. They came in, ready to win this game and go home. And today they're playing their last game, which would have been the all important game. So yeah, they came in ready to shut us up and win that game and potentially get in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely, we had to kind of fight back and fight against a team that really, really wanted it.
Yeah, and they brought the youths. They were in one of the boxes beside our section.
Yes.
They told us to sit down and shut up multiple times. Yep. And I was hurt because I deserved it at that time. But I was also very glad they were there.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun that where they sat, you could hear them, them bantering at us.
Yeah.
I think quite frankly, once people noticed that 10-year-olds were just serving it to us, there was a renewed vigor to be like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely like once they started coming at us towards the end of the first half, that was like, okay, we got to step it up a little bit here.
We will not sit down, and we've never shut up in our lives.
I don't think we're physically capable of it.
It's very true. All right. So finally, in the 70th minute, there is a goal. It is not an own goal, despite reports from yours truly. Listen, guys, I stand at the end. Full 90 happens at the height of emotions. This time it happened at the height of emotions with fireworks. I 100% thought that was an own goal because it just like dribbled in and like slid between a leg. And I was like, there's no way someone didn't try to like save it or deflect it. And then that's why the keeper missed it. I was confident in my analysis. I was very wrong.
That's all right, because I absolutely agree. I could see 100% why you thought that it was an own goal, just because it was, not to mention it, but it was sort of, in my mind, was like that the Detroit goal in the playoff game a couple years ago, where it just like, it was a shot and it just like found its way through everyone in the box, didn't get a single touch, and the goalkeeper couldn't see it until the last second, and then it's in the back of the net, and that's that. So yeah, I watching it on the replay, the camera angle was perfect for it because it came in from that left side, and you could just see the path of it going past, and like people putting their foot up for it and nobody getting a touch on it, and it just goes right into the back of the net, which is great.
Yeah, a goal's a goal. At the time, we were like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I, at that time, did not know that was enough to clinch. So I was like, great, we're back in the fight. And I was ready to do all of the fighting at that point.
Yeah, it was still, given how Steel City had been playing, it was still like, you don't want to just get that one goal and hope that they don't score again. Because it had been so tight that entire game. It definitely felt like we probably needed to kind of keep pushing and pushing and pushing to get over the line.
Yeah, and I think luckily we've talked about this. Scott has stopped asking them, to the extent that I think he did the first two games, to take it to the corner and slow the game down when he feels confident. It's just not something that these women are good at. They're fast players. So taking it to any corner and being like, oh, we'll just like goof off over here. Yeah. They're not good at it. And that's fine. Keep control then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aside from even like, we've seen it throughout the season, aside from maybe one or two of them, they don't even understand the like slow it down when they're winning, or they need to hold a result. Don't get the ball right back in play immediately. Like, just let it, oops, let me go over and grab the ball. And then, they don't.
Let me chase the one that's
the
clear
one that's
over
further
there
away rather than the one that's actually right in front of me. Yeah, they don't. Aside from, I think, like Sabrina's the only one that I've seen that's actually kind of understood the dark arts in that moment. Yeah, like everyone else seems to just be like, get the ball, get it back in play. They don't understand how to just like
go fight.
Calm down. You are holding a playoff spot right now. Just like, you don't need to speed it right back up to get it back in play. But that's what they do. That's who they are.
And it worked out. We got a second stoppage time goal. We got the goal that we could talk about. The buildup was nice. The tossing, like it was a good goal. This time I didn't rewatch the game, so any discussion about offside, quite frankly, off the table. I didn't see it. Never.
So looking back, I don't think she was offside. I don't think so. Because it was, so the thing that kind of started it was Bella Vozar came up and got an incredible slide tackle. Like, Steel City had just won possession in their box, and out of nowhere, not even on the camera, Bella comes flying in, does a slide tackle, gets only the ball, and it goes, bouncing forward to a Riveters player. It kind of got recycled back out. Eventually found its way to Lily Bain, who I'm glad to see her back. She had a couple of appearances early in the season, and then she was the one that in the Rochester game that Scott was yelling at because she didn't want to run into the corner. So
they're not good at it, Scott.
Yes. But and then she kind of disappeared for a while. I don't know if she was on vacation or if she just, kind of lost favor, but she was back in tonight or 2 nights ago. And yes, she kind of worked the ball in, and Proviano got it and spun and took the shot as soon as she, like, I don't know how she spun. Like, she had to just bend take because she had her back to the goal and just like spun herself and shot at the same time, and the ball just was in the net. And that was that.
I'm fully confident that the capture and spin is
Mhm.
what every one of those women want to do naturally.
Yes.
They do it so well and so frequently. I think that I noticed it the most in the away Rochester game that
Mhm.
we went to. There was just so much. I mean, they've definitely, their accuracy has gotten better. They've actually have play sets that they're doing now. They
Mhm.
can stretch out the field. Like the things that they're doing, now as the last games in the season compared to those first games are very obvious, but still the capture and turn
Mhm.
is like a natural inclination for so many of them on the field. And it's something that, I mean, I don't see at the level that I usually watch.
Yeah.
So like you don't see it in EPL. I don't really see it in MLS. You don't see it in USL so much. If you can get one or two of those a season, you're very excited. But to watch games pivot on that
Mhm.
is, I mean, that's part of, I think, what makes them so fun to watch. It makes it seem even faster than they're already going.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
So, I mean, overall, obviously, ended the game on a high.
Mhm.
Felt great that you took a rough start, you came from behind,
Mhm.
and you won. Like that gives you such hope for whatever's going to happen in playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So, like, even if we struggle a little bit, there's hope.
Mhm.
We've seen us come back. We've seen us settle down and like reassess how we're going to attack a team. I think that we're ready. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the last two games. Both were come from behind results. In the Buffalo game, we came from behind a draw. On Friday we came back to win. Also, it was the first goal conceded at Highmark for the Riveters. Was that penalty from
Bound to
Steel
happen
City?
eventually.
Right, and I mean, and especially now that not to get ahead of ourselves, but now that we're hosting the playoffs or the first two rounds of the playoffs, it was probably going to happen. In those games, there's a good chance that would happen. I'm glad that we saw it happen finally during the regular season, so that they know how to respond to it, so that they're not learning on the fly when it's a knockout game.
Yeah, that's true. And then, I mean, what a great segue. Playoffs are weird. So we're in playoffs, and the teams said whether or not they were willing to host, and Highmark got hosting
Mhm.
for the entirety of the playoffs.
So they got
All of them?
So they got the first two rounds. They got the Central Conference
Okay.
playoffs. So there's two rounds in the Central Conference playoffs. That'll be the ones that are this coming Friday on the 4th of July. The two games, and then the two winners of those games will play each other on Sunday. Then after that, it's weekly. They go weekly from there. So it'll be,
Okay.
I believe it's the Central Conference winner plays the Western Conference winner, and the Eastern and Southeastern Conference winners play each other in the semifinal, like the league semifinal.
Okay. So,
Then
and then
the final goes from there. So as of right now, we are just hosting the Central Conference playoffs. There's still a very reasonable chance, though, that we could host the other two games if we make it that far.
right, that was my question. So the first two rounds
Mhm.
are played at a field regardless of who's playing. Like, so because we're hosting we're hosting two games on Friday.
Mhm.
And so obviously 3 of those teams do not have home
Mhm.
field advantage. And then the same thing will happen on Sunday. It's possible that neither one of those teams will have home field advantage. Thereafter, does someone get home field advantage?
Yes. So
Okay.
in each game, so the league semifinals will be played in two separate locations. Like, it'll be hosted by one of the teams playing.
Okay, great.
I assume, there might be a scenario where both teams can't host and they have to figure out a neutral site. But,
Then Highmark hosts again.
and then, but hopefully we'll be hosting regardless because the Riveters will be playing. That's
That's fair.
obviously the ideal. I know like last year Detroit hosted the Central Conference playoffs. Then they won and they hosted the league semifinal. So
Okay.
so like that, so that continued. I think if given that we're one of the few teams in the league that like has control of our stadium and our
Right.
schedule, actually the Hounds schedule lines up kind of perfectly for the playoffs, aside from this
It's
weekend.
Kismet.
Like this weekend is kind of a mess with the 4th of July. It's going to be 3 games. It's going to be great.
Kaz,
But
how dare you? Listen, if you like to drink in a parking lot,
Yes.
have I got a day for you? It's called the 4th of July. It's going to start. Listen, we'll probably be there at 9 a.m. Someone will make French toast because why not?
Mhm.
You can watch the women play and then come back out for snacks and then go back in and watch the women play and come back out for snacks and then go watch the men play. And then you can lay on the field and they'll turn off all the lights and you can watch the fireworks and you can go back out and have some snacks while you watch the bridge clear up. And then you can go home when there's less traffic.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be at Highmark Stadium for well over 14 hours?
I mean, it sounds great to me, but
It's a dream.
It's going to be a long day regardless.
is.
But then the next weekend, so the weekend that would be the league semifinals, the Hounds play Sunday at home against Loudoun, and then the next week on Saturday, which would be the league final, they play at Detroit. So on Saturday, so the Friday, Saturday, both weekends is wide open for the Riveters to play and host. So I feel like there's a reasonable chance that if we make it to those rounds that we would be hosting.
When we make it to those rounds, Cass,
I don't want to,
You got to put it into the ether. You got to manifest some destiny here. Maybe we don't use that term. We'll just use manifest.
It's just manifesting.
That's just, I mean, all of it seems wild. Like to play on the 4th and then to play again on the 6th, especially if you've traveled. Exhausting. I mean, listen, Pittsburgh, show up, show out. I mean, I anticipate that the Riveters will be part of both of those games. And so I'm hoping that means that we fill up the stadiums on both days. People who maybe already have plans on the 4th will be delighted to have new plans on the 6th. But it's just, wow, it's a weird schedule.
Yeah.
And it's very compact. Like I'm exhausted and I'm running 0 minutes in any of those games.
Yeah, I know. Both of us didn't go to the Hounds game last night, but we're both I'm still recovering from the Friday game. And I know you were out all day, but
yeah, I was at a festival yesterday, so I was out in the sun all day. We were supposed to get rain. We didn't get rain. Then we got a little bit of rain. But whatever. Everyone went to hide when it started raining. I was like, this is just what happens. Who cares?
But yeah, so it's been a long month and a half. And I can't believe the regular season is already over.
I know.
But yeah, we've got at least a couple of playoff games to look forward to here. And then even, just putting it out there that the final, should we make it to the final but not host, it would be somewhere along the East Coast because it would be against either an Eastern Conference or a Southeastern Conference team. So there's a reasonable chance that if we're not hosting, we could make a good travel effort.
We could just put some people in cars and go. Maybe we get another van.
Yep.
Let's do it.
So good chance that even if it's not hosted the final, at least we could potentially go to the final.
Well, I think everyone knows what their plans are for the 4th, possibly the 6th, and then just prepare yourself. If we don't host, you might be getting in a car make new friends, get into the Steel Army Discord. There will be a contingent making plans.
Yeah.
It was a great game in the end. The fireworks were fun, and we're in playoffs. And you have the Yinzer Cup, yeah?
Indeed, yes.
The Yinzer Cup, it's ours.
It is officially ours.
So I have a real quick question about the Yinzer Cup. Is there ketchup in that bottle? And if so, are you going to clean it out so that it doesn't just like get weird over the years? Oh, we opened it.
I don't know if it's open. Like if I can open it, they might have like glued it shut or something. The
Oh.
lid opens. I mean, it feels empty. It doesn't feel like it's full.
Oh, listen, look at them. That's like
So
if
yeah.
someone handed us a cleaned out empty Heinz bottle, that person is the real hero
yes.
here.
Yes.
That's how we'll end. The Yinzer Cup and the real hero, the person who washed it out.
Again, still unknown, unnamed Steel City fan who gave it to us.
I still adore them. That's fine. Well, Kaz, thanks for making the main show better with me. And I'm sure we'll talk soon either. Oh,
we didn't do our top 3.
Oh, a top 3? Oh, gracious. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We need a top 3. Let's see. I mean, I do think that Piper had a really good game. I would put her in the top 3. Proviano's goal, I think, gives you a top 3 being there and making that happen. You got a third for us?
So the 3 that I had kind of just in no particular order was Piper, Bella, and Sabrina, Brian. I mean, none of them got the goals, but they were just, all 3 of them have just been playing phenomenal all year. And I think they were really the ones that even during the like rough first half, they were the ones that were kind of still making things happen, even when, things weren't looking good. Though I am completely open to having Proviano there. I also had a mention to Lindemann for her weird fluky goal. But yeah, those were the 3 that I wrote down. But I think there's a very reasonable case to have Proviano in there.
I'll give you Brian. I actually think Vozar she had moments, but she wasn't as present in the way that I've seen her previously. I talked about her way less, and I love to talk about Vozar.
Yes.
So I would go Piper, Brian, and Proviano for the 3, and now to order them. I think Piper gets 3 for me. Like, that's really fine, yeah. I think the way that she played just really made me happy. What can you do the other 2, Kaz? I just don't know.
I personally would say we can do, personally I would say Brian and then Proviano.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. I am fine with that. I think that there was a lot going on in the game besides the goals. So there was a lot to pay attention to. Yeah. Oh, you know what else we forgot?
What?
Player of the Year.
Of course.
We got to do Player of the Year. It was amazing. First of all, the way the whole team came over and participated in the event, which I think is adorable and really makes me happy. Yeah. And then Nelson gets it and everyone just loses their mind. They're so excited. Yes. And it made us more excited. It was easy to take pictures. That went off without a hitch. And for what was going on after the game, like fireworks, they start cordoning us off. And, knowing that you've made playoffs and there are still children waiting, oh my God, I love Player of the Year. It makes me so happy.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and she we did the selfie and everything. And then she came back and hugged Ariana, went out of her way to find. And, it was just great. The energy from the army and from the team, it was just, it was a lot of fun. We didn't have the mic. We normally take over the mic and do the stadium, everyone has to hear us, but we got the megaphone and that was fine. But yeah,
we made it work.
Yes. I'm just saying for the future, Jeff, that we need
calling people out by name
microphone over there like we do for the Hounds.
That's true.
So
you're not wrong. All right, have we forgotten anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we're actually done this time?
I think so.
All right, well, I'll talk to you soon, and we will spend 14 hours together in just a couple of days.
Yes, yes, we absolutely will.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
So congrats again to the Riveters. Obviously, massive achievement, guys. I know that expectations were really high for this team, and I think that some fans were a little bit disappointed by the way they started. I think there was some doubt of, are they actually going to be as good as they are? But clearly, they finished strong. We've got a lot to look forward to here with the team is going to be hosting the playoffs starting on July 4th, which is this Friday. Steve, if you could sum up, the Riveters' experience so far this season in one word, what would you choose?
Excellent.
Would you care to elaborate? Because I took a drink expecting you to
You
talk
said
longer.
one word, okay?
You said one word.
Okay.
I have a lot to say. You asked for one word. I'm trying to be good about that and not pull Kevin's all the time. Hi, Kevin. We miss you.
Speaking of, he was here last weekend, but go ahead, continue.
Okay.
Excellent.
No, I mean,
yes.
yeah, absolutely excellent. Liz and Kaz, great job. I am glad that the playoffs are only a few games because you're right. You would take over and be knocking us off. So, but you won't have the time to. We get the rest of the fall, so you only get another few weeks. So, but I think they talked about the first half of this game and whatnot. And for me, the only thing I would add to their conversation is that I think that is probably the types of things that you're going to have to expect throughout a season at a semi-pro level, where these players are in and out and they've just played college seasons, most of them, expecting them to be top of the game every game for 90 minutes is just something I don't have a high expectation of. But excellent to be able to come out, fight through some adversity, have some games where they weren't at their best, but then still find ways to put some goals away like they did the other night and like they did last weekend, right? Like that they were fighters and they were, really good. And the individual talent, I think at times is what shone through, even when the team was not doing everything that they think they wanted to. And that's a ton of fun and it's excellent to watch.
Yeah. Josh, did this season kind of meet expectations for you?
I guess I didn't know for sure what to expect, so I wouldn't say that I, met or not, because I was kind of going into it like, I don't know what it's going to be like. It seems like our team's really good, so it seems like our team was really good, and our team was really good. Obviously, it wasn't like we were tromping over everyone and like we own this league. It was not that, but at the same time, it's the very first year. It's a short window of time. It's not pro players. So like all these things, all these caveats kind of come in. And I do think the fact that we just had the better talent showed. It wasn't that we were a better team. It's that we had the better talent on the field. And yeah, that it won us, the league, or sorry, our division.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can take it farther than that, though.
Yeah. I think,
Mike, I just have to give you a hard time because, Steve, one word. Gosh, tell me all your thoughts.
We all know who my favorite is here, Steve. Come on.
You've known him longer. I can't argue with that.
No, I think if I had to do it in one word, Steve, I would say I'd say impressed. Like you guys both, we had no idea what to expect, but we knew that the bar was being set really high from an organizational standpoint. And regardless of sort of ups and downs and whatever, there were a ton of firsts this season. I think seeing how fans turned out for this team was really impressive. That was great. I think that's what we were expecting. But when you looked at when we went to away games, how many people weren't showing up, then you see that it is kind of a rarity for this league. So long may it continue, man. I'm glad that we were able to win the division. Once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. We'll talk a little bit about sort of what happens next. But no, really, really excited for the organization. Really excited for all the women. It's great. It's great. So long may it continue.
Yeah.
Guys, let's talk about the Hounds for a little bit. So the Hounds beat Westchester in a 1-0 pretty much meaningless game. This was for the Jagermeister Cup. Both teams needed 3 points to not mathematically be eliminated out of contention for the next round. I think even after winning this game, if we go to Portland Hearts of Pine and we win there, there's still a number of things that have to fall into place for us. So it's not a given after we sort of handed over, the first 2 games in this one. I'm kind of torn on how I feel about this because, we spent a lot of time talking prior to last week about sort of we need to see some play on the field. We need to see something, whether it's a win or a loss, just something changing. And I know a win is a win. I know that people who maybe aren't as close to the team are still going to the game. They're still having fun. They still think it's a good time. But over kind of the long term of what we've seen, I'm very much conflicted. Josh, how are you feeling after this win against Westchester?
I mean, it was a very heavy rotated team to start out with. Like we had, I'm trying to think of how many people were on. Like Sample was on. I too hasn't been really starting. Garcia was on.
Broughton was on.
Yeah, Broughton was on. So like, and Randolph.
Yeah.
So like, it was a pretty heavy rotated, cast of characters in this one, and they did win it, which is what you expect and what you need. But it definitely didn't feel like we were playing a League One team and we were a championship team. We had this conversation last week about, it didn't feel like we were playing the bottom team in the league. This time it didn't. Like, it's kind of the same story again. It's like, yes, we won, but it was like, it wasn't exactly a resounding win. We dominated. I never felt like they were scoring on us, but at the same time, I expect us to do better as far as attacking if that's the case. And it never felt like there was that one great save by their keeper that probably would have been a goal, 99% of the time. But other than that, I don't know. I'm just like, okay, we got the win. We are expected to win. I'm not going to, heap praise on the team for getting what is expected.
Steve, does this move the needle for you at all in terms of how you're feeling about this team this season?
Yep, it does. And not in a good way.
Oh, okay.
Mainly kind of what Josh was just talking about, that we're expected to win this game. And yes, we controlled the gameplay and whatnot. But if there's ever a time to go out and start building that goal scoring, whatever you want to call it, right? Like to start scoring more goals, this is the type of game to do it. And we didn't look great overall in attack. We had some moments of brilliance, 4 probably good moments. I mean, Shakason's goal, the one that was saved that Sample brought into him, the one that Augie had saved. I mean, we're all good opportunities. But not really statistically even a game where I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, I see that we're taking steps forward. I don't think we took any steps forward in this game, and that to me is concerning.
I mean, the announcers were talking about the fact, too, that even if the Hounds were to get 3 points in this one, to have any kind of hope, the first tiebreaker is goal scored. So this was an opportunity. If you're going to beat them, like, try to run up the score. But it became pretty apparent that we were kind of happy with a 1-0. Like we like you said, we got a few chances here and there, but it still didn't feel like we were playing the game. And yeah.
But at this point, we are completely eliminated, right? Like, and even then, weren't we eliminated already because of?
I think so.
Because of Rhode Island winning the night before.
I could be wrong, but I thought we could still get it if we had a high enough goal differential.
Yeah.
But Rhode Island had won already for 3 wins the night before.
Got you. Yeah.
Right? So we went into this game with Rhode Island having played their 3rd game with 3 wins.
Got you.
The way they were talking, this could be completely wrong. The way they were talking was that we wouldn't be trying to take the top spot. We would be battling for one of those wild card spots. But
Got it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, mathematically.
I kind of forgot there were wild card spots.
Same.
Let's I do think that there are some interesting takeaways from this one. We're going to start with Mondo's moment because I think that's going to be one of the ones that we're going to talk about here, and then we'll circle back and add some of our own.
It's time for Mondo's moment, the top moment of the game from the Mandalorian.
This week's Hounds Mondo moment from the Jagermeister Cup comes in the 15th minute, when Burton Jackson finishes across from Junior Atu for his first goal of the season. This is the way.
This has been Mondo's moment. Go Hounds.
So Jackson scores first goal of the season. It's not in league play. It's against a Westchester team. Does this change how we feel about Jackson this season at all, Josh? How are you feeling about him as in his contributions to the squad?
I think it's telling that this happened when Williams was on the field. It was a different kind of position. He was doing a different thing than what he's usually doing when it's him and Williams. And also, I do think it is still a good thing. It's not like I'm saying like, oh, still down on him. I'm not. And I haven't been that down on him all season, really. I've never really felt like he was performing terribly. It's just he wasn't being asked and kind of putting the team on his shoulders and scoring all the goals. I hope this does give him confidence, though. I hope we do see him more attacking minded and putting in those shots instead of just kind of doing crosses. And we'll see, though.
Yeah.
Steve. I think Josh really like what you're saying. Like, I think he has been actually doing a good job when he's had time on the field. I think the biggest difference is, you're right, his role has been really, really different this year, where he's been playing much more as a real winger as opposed to kind of a two support striker role, kind of how he was with Eddie Kizza last year, where they were kind of interchanging and one was going out wide and the other one was dropping more centrally. When he's on the field with Williams is obviously the guy that is playing up top and he's playing further out wide. And so this gave him that chance to be a little more central. And I think that's a big part of why he got the goal.
It's interesting because I think a lot of us would have thought like, okay, well, if Augie is not playing, then maybe you start Jackson as your center forward. And that was not the case here. We played Garcia as our center forward, even though it was pretty clear that we wanted the offense to kind of flow through Jackson. So it almost makes me feel for Garcia, who also is not really a forward. Like all of his action comes off the wing. So I'm just curious what those conversations were like. Like, we want you to go out there and be like the dummy, like run around, but everything's going to flow through Berton.
But it kind of did what Kizza's job was for Berton the last 8 games of the season last year, however many it was since when he came on loan, right? Like, it was the one guy taking the pressure off of him.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. There's still a lot of time left. If Augie and Berton can sort of develop a partnership where he is effective as a winger, it feels like there's some other changes that may need to be made on the field in order for that to happen. But
or very near to the field.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Touche. Josh, give me a takeaway as you take a drink.
I guess other than that, it's like kind of already voiced a little bit of the complaints, but I do think that did feel like a more fun game, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like the team was looser in trying things and just being creative. It obviously would have been great if it came to more goals. It didn't feel like there was as much pressure on the team to like play a certain way. It definitely felt creative, which was fun to watch, if nothing else.
Yeah, there was far less pressure. And so it seemed like the guys were taking more chances, more quick one-touch passes to try to little flicks and dinks and trying to take advantage of the situation. Steve, give me a takeaway.
Hounds connections on the field on the other side. It was just kind of fun to see. JC Obregon played for the Hounds for a little bit. But the one that's a lot more fun to see and see him actually getting time is Ben Jackman, the goalkeeper, who grew up in the Riverhounds Academy. And so I found that fun. In terms of with the Hounds, goalkeeping on the other side, that I think Randolph showed why he is still on this roster as a second year, second choice keeper. That his quality showed through. He was aggressive. He didn't have to make a ton of saves, but he was going after balls quite a bit and really collecting a lot of things. So that was a lot of fun to see.
I loved how he was really vocal as well. Like he took charge of that back line. He was calling guys off of stuff. I was impressed. That sort of leads me to my next question here for you guys. Josh, you mentioned there's a lot of guys who kind of aren't necessarily in the default starting lineup. Max Broughton, Randolph, Sample, Etu's kind of been in and out, Garcia. Did you see enough from any of these guys to think that they warrant more time within sort of the regular championship season outside of the Jagermeister Cup? Josh, I'll start with you. Was there anybody there that stood out to you?
I mean, it's funny because like Sample comes to mind as someone I still think of him as kind of like a starter quality player. It's just the fact that he this season isn't having to be starting as much, but I do think his quality is up there. It's just we have a couple of positions where we do have some standouts that in a regular Hounds team he probably would be our starter. So it's not that I think he should be starting. It's more that I'm not upset when I see him on the field. The same thing can be said though for Garcia. It's funny because Garcia comes on and sometimes he scores goals and we're just like, okay, just start him forever now. Like, why are we, messing about? But I think this game kind of shows why we're not starting Garcia, because we're going to have the same issues with Garcia. I think we've been beating this drum for a long time, but it's the system, not the player. I don't think Garcia would make a big difference.
Yeah. I think there's a conversation to be had about Sample, but we'll come back to that. Steve, did anybody sort of stand out to you and maybe make a case to be a starter within, when New Mexico comes to town next week?
Again, I think pretty similar to Josh's comment about Sample of able to start, but not sure that I think needs to be starting is Max Broughton. Really think he played excellent. But he's playing in a position where there's a lot of really good options. And so the fact that he's not starting isn't a surprise.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah, I thought he had a great game.
Yeah.
I messaged you guys that I thought he was kind of all over the place and cleaning up stuff before it became a problem. I was really impressed. He was one in the preseason that I think we were all kind of just expecting to be the pairing with Suber. And then Edrich sort of came out of nowhere and, rightly so, kind of has that spot. So it will be interesting. I had a thought last night and I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm curious as to whether or not we see Bradley Sample in a Riverhounds kit next season. I think the talent is there, but I don't see him displacing some of the guys that are in front of him. And he's too good to not get minutes somewhere. So I love him as a guy. Like, I'd love to have him here. Yeah. I could see him going somewhere else next season.
I think a lot of it comes down to how much value they place on what he can contribute. And if he is set on staying in Pittsburgh, because I could see him being a player much like Danny Rivera was for a number of years, that getting minutes, starting the occasional game, but not ever locking down that position unless somebody else is injured. But then sticking around for, Rovey was one of the longest tenured players for the Hounds of all time, not just under Bob Lilly. And so I kind of hope that that's what we see with Sample. I could also see that he's here because somebody else and in that midfield is not here. And so he kind of is the guy that sticks around. I would love to not lose Jackson Walsey, but I think he's going to get some big offers out of contract.
Yeah.
So is that the 1-for-1 then? Or are we saying that like if Sample was on the field, Walty would not be on the field?
I think they're the most similar players. I think Sample can play a little more forward, but I think that's kind of what we've seen throughout the past two seasons. Is it's one or the other of those guys.
I would say if Walty doesn't play, then you play Griffin there and you play Sample a little more forward.
That's what I was thinking. Actually, I was thinking Griffin was more the spot that Sample was kind of
fair.
But who knows with Charles All in the mix now too. So like,
True,
and
true.
he's another one who got some time last night and continues to impress. So guys, what other takeaways do you have from this one? I have one more thought, but I'm going to kind of save it here for the end. I want to make sure we touch on everything else first. Anything else?
I mean, it might be a little bit premature to talk about this right now, but the Jaeger Cup in general, like how do we like now that we played a League One team and like kind of get the vibe of what this is, does it feel different enough from like the Open Cup? Do you think it actually makes sense to do this? Just curious.
I still like the idea of the competition. I think especially once you have kind of the USL Premier in place too, assuming it continues, it becomes much more. It will basically become like the Open Cup light and just not include the MLS, who doesn't really want to be part of the Open Cup anyway. But I think just because of the way we approached it this year, or I shouldn't even say the way we approached it, just where we are as a team and organization right now, it just didn't play out for us. I think this was a competition that had we been in a better situation, could have worked out really well for us. I think, I'm still kind of bummed that the game in Portland is not going to be more meaningful, because I feel like that could have been a great game to go to and have fun. And Steve, you look like you're about to cry. Like
I have no reason to go now.
Right. So it's just, I think that conceptually, I think it's really cool. I think if we took it more seriously, I think I'd be feeling much more better about it. Steve, how do you feel?
Yeah. Portland aside, for me, the cup as a concept, absolutely love. Our performance in the first two games, obviously not so much, but I really just do like more games against other levels of the soccer pyramid. I think that's a fun thing that you don't get to see in a lot of ways. And so having a couple more of those games, 2, 3, 4 more of those games a season, I think I have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, seeing them come in the way that they did this year is not as fun.
I also really like the opportunity for there to be more hardware. There's a lot of conversations happening around the Premier League right now where nobody remembers if you came in 4th or 5th or 6th, but people remember like Tottenham was like near bottom of the table, but they won the Europa League. Like you have a parade for that. Like that's a big deal. And now they're in the Champions League because of it. And just having another piece of hardware that you could potentially win and put in your trophy case, that's what people remember. We could end up not making the playoffs this year, but if we won the Jagermeister Cup, like people would be excited. There would be a good time. There'd be a championship game that people would, support. So it just feels like we kind of missed it this year. So.
Okay.
Josh, you don't look like you feel the same.
I don't know. Like I keep on coming back to the fact that, well, one, this feels like a stopgap. This feels like what we're doing until we get the pro rel set up between the 3 leagues. It kind of feels like, this is just a way to kind of let the League One teams play championship teams to see where get them used to playing against each other and how the quality differs, and if it is feasible, and making sure that the quality is there where we can actually have a smooth transition from the top of one league to the bottom of the other league. So there's that. So it feels like a transition type of tournament. Like I don't know if I want this once we actually have pro rel between the 3 leagues. I don't know if it makes sense to have it after that. But 2, it also still feels a little bit weird to me that it is basically Open Cup light. And like, I would rather get behind the Open Cup more than have a second Open Cup that just doesn't involve MLS. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel that different to me when it comes to that. And then lastly, it still irks me that this tournament took away games from the regular season. It's not like this was in addition to the regular season. This is in place of the regular season, some games. So those 3 things are kind of like where I'm at with it. Maybe it's because we didn't do good. Maybe it's just, sour grapes. Honestly, could be. Who knows? But just overall, I'm like, whatever.
If I gave you the option right now and said they're taking away the Jagermeister Cup next year, or they're going to let it run for another year, Which one would you take, Josh?
I mean, I'm going to say keep it running until we get pro rel.
Steve?
Keep it running. I actually I actually hope that it doesn't go away with pro rel, because then you've got 3 divisions playing against each other. And for me, what I like about that is it gives those divisions the actual chance of playing against each other. Whereas in the Open Cup, you may not be getting USL teams at all, right? Like you could be getting whatever eventually replaces NISA, or you could be getting next pro teams, or you could be getting other whatever leagues come about. We don't know, right? But this keeps it in the USL structure, and so it's like, okay, hey, we can start building some connections, some rivalries with fan bases that we may also see in our division at some point through pro rel, and just kind of, I think, so it adds some history, maybe in some ways a manufactured way, but in a accelerates kind of some of those regional rivalries in a way that I don't think you necessarily always have the opportunity to do otherwise. And so I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Guys, I think there's a number of other topics that we could touch on here, but I keep looking at the clock and I know that we're going to run out of time. So
I have a question for Josh though. So with this Leagues Cup, will, as our official Steel Army board member, if we were to play one of those teams, how would it impact if we were to say play the Richmond Kickers with the Old Guard Shield? Would it?
No, it's only league play.
Okay,
it actually stipulates.
But that would be kind of fun, wouldn't it, to see the Kickers again?
Oh yeah, I would love to see the Kickers again. I don't want them to take our cup, but yeah, or Shield, yeah.
Yeah, guys, we're going to save a bunch of the other topics for later. Let's pick our top 3 and then quickly circle back to just sort of all the festivities that are coming up this weekend. Josh, do you want to nominate someone for our top 3?
I mean, I'm going to do the easy one since I might as well. Jackson,
okay.
He had that good. He had a goal and what we needed to win.
Okay, Steve. Are you going to say Jackson Waldy after a 20-minute performance?
No, I thought he said Jackson. I was like, oh no, he meant Jackson.
Yeah.
But I like Randolph a lot, actually. I think he deserves to be on the board.
Did he do enough?
He was aggressive.
Okay.
I think in a game that was kind of meaningless, I see the argument for Randolph. I think I was looking for who is showing me something that I haven't seen before, and I would probably say Randolph's on that list for me. In terms of like traditional ways that we've done this, I could make an argument for Robbie. I think our entire team now runs through Walty and Robbie, which is a shift over what it's been in the past. Robbie needed to be careful because it seemed like he was going to get himself sent off for yapping at the ref early on. But considering this game meant nothing and we kind of had a chance to kind of see some of the other players, Steve, I liked your shout about Max Broughton earlier as well. I could put him in my top 3. I'll throw his name out there as being someone that I would put in my top 3. So we have Berton, Randolph, and Broughton. Do you guys have an argument for somebody else to crack that list over those 3?
I'm not strongly.
So
I mean, I would say
give me a hard time about Randolph, but then you can't come up with anybody else.
I was going to say Sample maybe, but honestly, I can't tell you one like particular play where I'm like, oh yeah, Junior came to mind. I thought Junior did have a pretty good game, especially, I mean, the assist there. I think he also assisted the really nicely blocked shot as well, if I remember right. I could be wrong by that. But yeah,
there's a much bigger conversation I think we can have about Etu, but I messaged you guys that it felt like we were seeing Etu from last year and the way that he was being dangerous in the box, almost drew a pen early in the game. Like there was a lot to like about what we saw. If he can play at those levels the rest of the season, I can see him bouncing up our board here for sure. Okay, so Berton, Randolph, Broughton. I would propose in that order. Does anyone want to push back against that order?
Okay. I really thought I was going to have to try to justify Randolph above Broughton, and I wasn't ready to. So
if it was me, I would have been. No, I'm joking. It's fine. I don't feel strongly about anyone else to be like, really pushing.
Yeah, I think the reality is Jagermeister gets 3 points, and there are a number of other players we could talk about for the other 2 spots, and we selected 2, and so
agreed.
They get some points.
Agreed.
Whatever order you want to roll the dice for.
That is what we think. Let us know what you think. You guys know how to get a hold of us. We're all over the socials. You can also email us at mongols3@gmail.com. Guys, we were talking a little bit. It sounds like Friday, July 14th is going to, or July, good, I'm doing it again. Friday, July 4th, geez Louise, is going to be quite the day at Highmark Stadium. The Hounds are set to face off against New Mexico United in the evening, but because the Riveters have kind of won the division, and because we kind of have a really sweet stadium that everyone wants to play in, they are hosting the Central Conference section of the playoffs, which kick off on July 4th. Ticketmaster claims that 10:30 is the start time, but there's actually going to be 2 games played as part of those playoffs. It sounds like this has not been officially announced or anything like that, but it sounds like the Riveters are most likely playing Minnesota Aurora, who I think they gave up 3 goals all season. So a really good team. Their branding is insane. Good for them. Yeah, it's great organization. And then the other 2 teams it's looking like are Cincinnati's Kings Hammer, and then either Detroit City or Ann Arbor. As of recording, Ann Arbor were still in their game, and I think they were losing 3-0, but I don't know how that shakes out. But regardless, there will be 2 USLW games played, apparently starting at 10:30 on Friday, followed by a Hounds game. We had talked to the front office, like, how many double headers will we get? And they were like, we're not doing that because the staff is going to be insane. And so now we won't just have 2, we will have 3.
Yeah, my understanding is, the ticket you get for the Riveters is both the matchups there. Yeah. So it's going to be 2 games you watch and then get kicked out of the stadium, and then you have to get back in the stadium.
Come back in for the Hounds.
For the Hounds, yeah.
And so for the USLW, you will have the 2 games on Friday, and then the winners of those games will play on Sunday, also at Highmark Stadium. You can get tickets for all 3 of those games, plus the Hounds game that's happening Friday night. Obviously, Friday night Hounds game, Hawaiian shirt, July 4th, fireworks. You could stay on the field and watch the fireworks from downtown. It's going to be quite the event. Josh, are you just going to set up camp there at 8 a.m. and be there all day, or what's your plans there?
Yes, it's hilarious because usually for 4th of July games back in the day when we used to have them all the time, it would be a 12 p.m. tailgate kickoff. So start at 12, you go all the way to 6, so you can go in the stadium and watch the fireworks, and you leave. This time, I guess we're just gonna have to do an even earlier time. I don't think we're gonna be able to tailgate before this game, but we'll see. I bet you there are some Steel Army members at 8 a.m. probably out there.
I thought Liz said there was going to be French toast at 9 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, I just assumed that was you, Josh, but apparently the message hasn't gotten to you.
This has not been the grill in a while.
Yeah, I'm not the grill guy anymore, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, so yeah, a lot going on. It'll be an exciting weekend for sure. We will be back, I'm assuming Sunday night, to kind of talk about all of it. We'll see what time that game is on Sunday. Hopefully the Riveters are playing in it and we can have sort of immediate reactions to what's happening in that game. Just a whole lot of soccer going to Pittsburgh over the next 7 days. So once again, congrats to the Riveters for winning the division. That's a massive first step in sort of the evolution of this team. Really looking forward to seeing what happens this weekend. Guys, any other kind of final thoughts before we get out of here?
It's a lot of soccer coming up, and good.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it last week, how much soccer the Hounds are playing at home, and now we add in these playoff games for the Riveters, and it is crazy. It's great.
Yeah, agreed. It's a really good time. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening to this. We really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who contributed to this episode. I realized we had 7 people, I think, all sort of contribute between us 3 and Mondo and Liz and Kaz and Laura Ellen. It's just like, yeah, ton of people adding their voices to this. We absolutely love it. As I mentioned, make sure that you spread the word about the show. We're all over the socials. You can email us at mongols3@gmail.com. We'd love the support. Leave us a like and subscribe wherever it is that you're getting this. It does really help. We really, really appreciate it. Otherwise, thanks, everybody. We'll be back with more Hounds and Riveters content for you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.